to our role in terms of having taken on that particular task. And when the board made it very clear policy-wise, well over 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, that enough was enough, that whatever we have there, we need to divest ourselves of it. And so these are, these costs are real, they've been out there. It's not a situation where the county is taking on the role of subsidizing whatever the function may be. And that was communicated, I believe, to the West Patton district as well as all the other parties there, that this is your share of the cost. So the fact that they haven't shared that with you, or that you've had to live with the kind of conditions you have, is unfortunate. But that does not, justify not doing anything. And I would say that, obviously there's a need there for them, and it may be, this may be an opportunity for them. And maybe one suggestion or solution we can explore, and I'd like to have the staff look at that, maybe report back to the board. I mean, the way improvements can be made to that building is if you own the building, you can do whatever you want to fix it and maintain it and improve upon it. And if there's the needs, as you've indicated, which are real, they're going to happen, not because somebody else is going to do them for you, it's because you're going to do it for yourself. So maybe we should look at, maybe go to the West Patton Village and quit claim deed them the building. They have these other parties that are there that are basically our tenants that are paying into and contributing it. And it would give the West Patton Village folks the opportunity to fix up and utilize the building, to the best of their ability. And it wouldn't cost them anything in terms of us like selling it. It'd be like, here, the building is yours, and make whatever sort of improvements, and you can negotiate whatever kind of. And I think I pushed a long time ago.
We've had that discussion.
That as a board, that with all these buildings we have, instead of us being the landholders, we're not really in the landlord business for it. We've proven by the inability of staff in the past to conduct themselves, they fashioned themselves as these property managers, and when we took the tour down there, it became very clear they may be good bureaucrats pushing papers left and right, but when it came to being property managers, they did not conduct business as property managers would. I mean, I wasn't impressed by the output, and my attitude is we as a county need to divest ourselves of those kind of responsibilities, and these kind of expenses are going to continue to exist there, and the best way to manage them and the best way to maximize the benefit for the people who rely on these facilities is for them to be responsible. Now maybe West Patton Village may not want to take on that responsibility, maybe one of the other tenants would, and then you create your tenant landlord leasee in that relationship, and let them be self-controlled, self-governed, self-owned, and they're not dependent upon somebody else doing something for them or not doing something for them. So I would suggest that maybe we explore that avenue, and I think a good solution to this problem would be for them to maybe take on the responsibility and ownership. And they, if we can even divide the interest of the building so they own even their portion of the building as a tenant in common.
We've had that discussion even during the previous RFP.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, we have an RFP out on the street again to try and
I
put
mean,
in the change of ownership.
I'm going to continue. I know I sound like a broken record maybe sometimes.
Yeah, I don't mind.
But, it hasn't been something that we just newly discovered.
No,
It's been an issue. I read in the newspaper that some people.
Well, this
think
has
that
been very
newly-
transparent,
that
very transparent.
We've newly discovered these problems. This has been an issue that we've been debating and wrestling with as a board for 15 years. And I think we've made it real clear that we need to move beyond that phase. And I think the solution, Mr. White, to I think the issue you bring forth, which I totally appreciate you taking the time to be here for, is I'd like to see maybe these facilities transferred into your hands and be responsible for it. And that way you can, make whatever improvements that could be made and be responsible for, that would be an appropriate thing for them to do.
That I would be, but I'm under the CSD, so they would have.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. the
Mr. White and I
CSD.
can bring that message back to Ms. Peterson and the board. And
But
the board,
I think
obviously,
the
board decision.
representation that this is like the first we have dealt with it and seeking relief from, they've known since May of last year that this was a financial responsibility that was going to have to be met.
In West Baton Village, in the districts, I don't know if defense is the right word, I agree with Mr. White. The staff and the board have been very willing, if you will, to cover any expenses that they owe if they're invoiced, and they did not receive an invoice until the end of the year. our oversight, if you will,
I
and
don't-
obviously something that.
We're in the resolution,
That
we're in the resolution, does it say that they have to be invoiced monthly or?
It probably, it probably isn't.
You know, so the fact that I haven't got the bill doesn't mean that I'm not immune from the bill.
We're going to make sure they're invoiced this year on a monthly basis.
They were noticed, Mr. Chairman, in May of last year what the bill would be on a monthly basis, so I think they, you know, for them to say that they weren't aware of what that expense was going to be, notwithstanding, I don't think it stands.
Well, any other board members have any questions for Mr. White, or do you have any opinions you'd like to offer here? Again, we're providing direction to staff, so, on this. Concur with Supervisor Chapman, then.
I would support Jim's idea.
Yeah, I would suggest that we explore with how we could
I'll work
transfer
with
the
Mr.
asset.
Heimaker to inform the,
I would have to say, since Public Works has taken over property management.
Oh, it's
I
been
think-
substantially.
I think the services.
although
Yeah.
2067, they have some structural issues that were way beyond our, I mean, they were long before we got there. In fact, did you work on 2067 for a while when you were working for the depot or not? You were in the fire department.
Yeah,
Yeah, there were some people that worked there that are in the village.
I did the inspection.
Yeah. So you know the nooks and crannies.
Yes.
Grover, thank both of you very much for coming out.
Yes.
Really appreciate it.
All right.
Even though I may tend to side a little bit more with West Baton Village on this issue, obviously the direction of staff is to go ahead and collect the back rent, and if you could invoice them on a monthly basis in the future, and Pete, you and I can take that back to Vivian. Anything else then? Is there anything else to come before the board before we take a recess? Okay, the board is going to be recessed until 1:30, and at 1:30, we're going to come back in for D6, which is our time certain closed session, claims review, and conference with legal counsel. And we will take a public comment before the closed session.
So we also have, after the board meeting,
Oh,
we have the solid waste.
We have solid waste here at 3 o'clock. We'll be here for that.